Hello and welcome to iBuzz. I'm your host Nashin Bukhari, bringing you the most exciting and latest entertainment news from showbiz world. In today's episode, we will discuss Olivia Rodrigo's concern with mental health in the industry, followed by a movie review on Annette. But first things first, let me quickly take you to the top stories of the day. Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande team up for a good cause. Olivia Rodrigo says music industry prioritizes dollars over people's mental health. Britney Spears wants her father Jamie removed from conservatorship immediately. Live events to be protected by £750 million government insurance scheme. Brendan Fraser joins Leonardo DiCaprio in Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. And now moving to our top story of the day. Pop icon Olivia Rodrigo doesn't seem to be very happy on women's treatment in the music industry. She is shedding light on how the music industry has been treating women the way they have been getting treated since the past. To discuss this further, we have entertainment journalist Josh Rom with us. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nasheen. Good to be with you as always.
Thank you, Josh. Olivia Rodrigo said in a recent interview that she thought as an industry, people are getting better at not taking advantage of and manipulating and bullying young women, but it's still so apparent, and she has witnessed it too. How would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, so she is actually talking in the wider context of Britney Spears' conservatorship battle, where, according to court documents, a lot of people allege, the Free Britney movement alleges, and it's becoming apparent that Britney Spears has basically been used by her conservatorship as pretty much nothing but a workhorse. And I think Olivia Rodrigo is keen to support Britney Spears in her battle to remove her father from her conservatorship first and foremost, and then remove the conservatorship as a whole, terminate the conservatorship. Because Britney Spears' conservatorship says that Britney is not capable of thinking for herself, of managing her finances for herself, but yet is somehow capable of doing 3 best-selling albums, as well as going on worldwide tours, Vegas residencies, merchandise sales, the lot. So Britney Spears, as it seems, it has been used by her conservatorship, bearing in mind who benefit from her working. So Britney's finances pay for the conservatorship. Her former court-appointed attorney, Samuel Ingham, was being paid, I think, around, it's been reported, the $2 million a year mark for his services. Jamie Spears pays for his own lawyers, his own crisis management team from the conservatorship. So what Olivia Rodriguez is basically saying, she's saying that Britney, like so many other young women in the music industry, are basically being taken advantage of.
Yes. Mental health, Josh, it has become a grave issue, and it has now been openly and publicly addressed. A lot of movies have been released on the same subject, whereas keeping Olivia's statement in mind, where she said, I have definitely seen corporate dollars being prioritized over people's mental health. In your opinion, why is that we still see a long way to go when it comes to mental health in the entertainment industry?
Yeah, we do, because there is very much a mindset, well, if you're not working, then somebody else is. And I think that's relevant in all kinds of entertainment, from journalism to music to television to film to acting. You know, that's something that is constantly going on. And the entertainment industry is a very lucrative industry. And so execs are always keen to be working on the next project, making the next buck. And that's very keen. I think Olivia Rodrigo is very much at the start of her career. She was made famous originally
Yes.
from the Disney Plus and Disney Channel
Mm-hmm.
series High School Musical, the series. So I think Olivia, bearing in mind she comes from that big corporate company such as Disney, bearing in mind they have an ongoing
Mm-hmm.
lawsuit against actress Scarlett Johansson over alleged breach of contract from Disney's end.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlett has sued Disney for that over her treatment when it comes to Disney releasing the film Black Widow on a simultaneous streaming
Yes.
release as well as cinemas. It's very well known in the industry that Disney and other companies, or no, I shouldn't even say Disney, other
Mm-hmm.
companies like Disney, the big movie studios, even the big music companies as well, the distribution companies, the music labels,
Mm-hmm.
they always put business interests before personal health. And
Mm-hmm.
although this is getting better, and I think Britney Spears' case is at the forefront of this, and it shows
Mm-hmm.
kind of where mental health went, because she had the very public breakdown in 2007.
Yes.
Now people are taking note of the conservatorship since then and how absurd the situation is. I think, yes,
Mm-hmm.
people are starting to realise, but there is a long way to go in the wider entertainment industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. And Josh, just you mentioned that Olivia also referred to Britney Spears and the effects of the ongoing conservatorship on her mental health. Olivia seems to be pretty intelligent and compassionate, to be realizing these facts and then stating them. What is your take on that?
Well, I think the Britney Spears movement, the Free Britney Spears movement,
Mm-hmm.
I think is at the forefront of pop culture as a whole. And a lot of people within entertainment have known these facts for a while, but then there
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of people who are just reading up on those facts. And actually, I think you don't have to be that intelligent to
Mm-hmm.
see the situation for what it is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you look into the minor details, the nitty gritty of it, it's
Yeah.
really quite absurd and it's really quite scary. The
Mm-hmm.
lack of freedoms that Britney has, even
Mm-hmm.
though she's done so much in terms of her albums and her best-selling tours and her Vegas
Mm-hmm.
residencies, but yet what her conservatorship claims is absolutely bonkers.
Yes.
And you don't have to be actually intelligent to see what's going on
Mm-hmm.
without going into the court documents, without going into the nitty-gritty details.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think Olivia is speaking from her own experiences
Mm-hmm.
and from her own assertions of the music, film, and television industry, because being part of this big Disney franchise, this High School
Mm-hmm.
Musical, the series, she's kind of seen it all, because you're involved in filming, in making television, and also making music and seeing the way the music's released. And of course, she now has a best-selling album with her own music and her own songs. So of course, she's seen it all. She's been a part of quite a few different strands of the entertainment industry. And I think using the Britney Spears case, because that's very much at the forefront of pop culture at the moment, you know, I think a lot of people now are raising eyebrows to what's
Yes.
going on in the industry because of it.
Absolutely. And Olivia had been rocking the European music charts lately. Alongside, she had been dealing with some unwanted pressure. I'm talking about Courtney Love's accusation against Olivia for plagiarism. Of course, Olivia hasn't come up with any solid answer yet. However, she did reply in a very humbled manner, saying that I'm flattered that Courtney knows I exist. Do you think peer pressure or pressure caused by the seniors in the industry can be another cause for mental health issues?
Yes, I do. But then at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Courtney Love has seen all the press around Olivia Rodrigo at the moment and has seen how popular she is. I mean, I know she's everywhere in America. She's really solid here in the UK. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was a play from, let's just say, a has-been like Courtney Love, to get a bit of press and to link herself with Olivia. And of course, Olivia, being the star that she is, was of course going to reply in a humble manner, but also in the humble manner, that's also kind of disregarding the kind of severity of the accusations as well. That's saying, oh, Courtney Love knows I exist. Like, wow. As in, I didn't think of Courtney Love at all when I was doing my album. Like, that's the sort of thing. So I think, a lot of the times, actually, I don't think peer pressure is something, because I know there are quite a few artists like Katy Perry, like Beyonce, who actually, rather than being some sort of peer pressure presence, actually really nurture young talent. And that's something that's a big part of their own philosophy. But Courtney Love doesn't have the same cultural impact, I don't think, as someone like Katy Perry or Beyonce. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was simply just a prey to link yourself in some way.
Right. And Josh, there has been a fashion in the entertainment industry, still seems to be followed, that in order to remain in the limelight, artists are encouraged to be part of the scandals, controversial statements and whatnot. And we have also seen media not giving due attention to many singers and actors who have been very secretive with their private lives. So do you think this fear of feeling left behind in a rat race needs to be addressed as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think especially in the music industry, there's always pressure for that next album, that next single, that next tour. And I think that, artists do feel the pressure. And I know this is a big thing within reality TV circles, particularly here in the UK. People do feel that pressure to stay relevant. So hence why, they do construct press lines, hence why they are falling out with their friends, and hence why it's been reported why, certain PR people have said there are these, there's this thing in Hollywood called a love contract as well, where people literally sign contracts in order to enter into these kind of fake relationships, all for the press, all to elevate people. A young aspiring actor will put himself on with a very famous actress. They will link up to kind of elevate him and also keep her name fresh in the press as well. So that's the thing. This sort of behavior is nothing new to Hollywood. And all eyes are on this sort of behavior as well.
Right. Josh, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Absolute pleasure as always, Nasheen. Thank you very much.
That was Josh Rom. And now moving to other story details of the day. Pop icons Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande have donated all of the proceeds from streams and sales of the song Stuck With You to the charity. Bieber and Grande have so far raised $3.5 million for charity from their song Stuck With You to support children of first responders during the pandemic. The money will help fund scholarships, housing for self-quarantining purposes, and funerals of family members who pass away from COVID-19. Britney Spears has asked a judge to move up her next hearing date on removing her father, Jamie, as her conservator, accusing him of selling off her assets. The pop icon's attorney filed documents asking a judge to remove singer's father, Jamie, immediately as her conservator for the sake of her emotional health and well-being, according to reports. UK Music Festival and other live events are to be protected by a government-backed insurance scheme if they have to cancel because of COVID. It will begin next month with a £750 million budget to cover cancellation costs if events are legally unable to happen due to government COVID restrictions. The live events industry, which has repeatedly called for such a plan, broadly welcomed the announcement. Brendan Fraser has joined the cast of Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. The former title from Apple TV Plus and Paramount Pictures is a crime drama based on the best-selling book of the same name by David Gran. Fraser will appear in Killers alongside Oscar winners Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, Emmy-nominated Jesse Plemons. And that is it from our newsroom. We will be right back after a quick short break to review the latest release, Annette. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Today we will be reviewing the latest release, Annette. Henry is a stand-up comedian with a fierce sense of humor who falls in love with Anne, a world-renowned opera singer. With the birth of their first child, a mysterious little girl with an exceptional destiny, their lives are turned upside down. To review the movie, we are joined by film critic Stephen Cosgrov. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So this awesome movie is for the type of people who spend a ton to go watch a white canvas at an art gallery for a museum and call it art. These are the thoughts by some of the critics. What is your take on that?
Well, that's one way of putting it. I think, well, this film was the opening film for the Cannes Film Festival, the first one in 2 years, and I think it's on like the opening scene alone, it's a perfect like welcome back to cinema, because it's all about. I mean, the opening scene is everyone's sitting in a recording studio. You got the Sparks brothers who wrote the movie with Leo's character, director, and they're all sitting in there, and Leo's character with his daughter, because that's another theme throughout the film, and it's this massive meta thing. And they start singing, they start recording the first song, and everyone starts leaving the recording studio where they meet Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard and Simon Helberg, and they all start singing about how excited they are to start the film and to start the story, but they're already blurring the lines between art and reality, and that's what the whole film is about, because it's about art, but it's more about artists and who should create the art, what it takes to create good art, and whether it makes you as a person. So, and irrespective of like personal thing, I think it's a fantastic like welcome back to the sort of films that we've been missing because they haven't been able to be made in the last 2 years.
Right. It is a powerful story, and the fact that such movies are no longer preferred to be made, it could not catch too many eyeballs. Do you agree to that?
Well, I have to agree a little bit, but I feel like this is the sort of film that will find its audience, and when it does, they're the people who love it. Like, it's a very acquired thing. I did have to think about it. I mean, when I got out watching it, I knew I loved it, but I had to kind of think about why. Because it's very impenetrable in some sorts of ways. It's a musical, but it's nothing like any musical that's really been made, the sort of musical you expect. It's not as like, it's got moments of sweetness and sentimentality in it, but it's a lot more jagged and a lot less like cookie cutter than most musicals. Like usually you go to them for the spectacle and for a good time. And this is a spectacle and it's a great time, but it's also, it's got a real darkness to it. It's got a real like pain and angst, and it's brought to life fantastically.
Right. Even Adam Driver has been criticized a lot for his performance in this movie. For some reason, poor soul, he's always under the wrath of critics. How would you like to comment on his performance exclusively in this movie?
Exclusively in this movie, I think it's his best performance. I mean, honestly, he runs the gamut of the film. He's like, one, he has to play a comedian, which I remember seeing an interview with Robert De Niro when he did The King of Comedy, and he said the hardest part of it were this 10 minutes towards the end where you have to do a stand-up monologue because the timing and like the breath of all this is so difficult. Adam Driver pulls this off, and he makes you think he's a believable comedian, even in the mix of this ridiculous fantasy with backup singers at his comedy show. But he's also a fantastic singer in the way that he acts his way through the songs. That's another great thing about the film, is that everyone is a divine singer, but like they don't give like nothing's auto-tuned. Character made them all sing live on set, and it really grounds this ridiculous musical in something real. And he's someone who's in a lot of pain throughout, and he cannot. The tragedy, and it really is a tragedy. It's a tragic comedy, and the tragedy is that it's this man who feels the need to create art and feels the need to be an artist, but can't channel it into something positive, which is a contrast, I guess, with Marion Cotillard's character Anne, who's this incredible opera singer, but also a truly decent person. Like, there's a great scene at the beginning where he picks her up after a show, and she's like, "How did the show go?" And he's like, "I killed them, I slaughtered them." And then he's like, "How did the opera go?" And she's like, "I saved them." And that is entire. That's their two characters and their differing viewpoints. They're incompatible viewpoints, ultimately, like in a nutshell.
Right. And the fact that it was chosen for Cannes Film Festival this year proved it to be a very unique and strong story, because Cannes Film Festival always welcomes the story that have a point of interest, which is the uniqueness, the innovative part. So what is your take on that?
I love it. I know this film was divisive right out of the gate, but like I said, I feel like it's going to find like all the best kind of films like this. If it found like a huge wide audience, I'd be absolutely delighted. But I think it's going to find its people, and they're going to be really receptive to it. Because I mean, it's got like cult all over it. Because by Leo's character, he does like one film a decade. So, and it's also by Sparks, who are having a moment now thanks to the Sparks brothers, I guess. Ed Great's documentary and who's been like a cult favorite of like music lovers for years. So I feel like as long as stuff like this is made and gets the ability to be watched, then that's all you need, really, because then the people who care will find it, and that's what's so good about it.
Right. A musical and art movie is very tough to make, and especially for the actors, it's a whole lot of project. Hence, do you see a chance for Annette to stand in line for the Oscars?
Well, that's the thing. It depends on obviously everything. Yeah, it is. It depends. I mean, the Oscars, it's ridiculous to predict, but you got all the other stuff to come out, and then I feel like if you want a musical, like I think the Oscar choice for best musical is either going to be Spielberg's West Side Story that comes out this year, or we've already got In the Heights, which I really, really love. It's a fantastic musical, but it's like an example of the musical that you expect, and that is not that. But I feel like Ron and Russell Meyer Sparks could sneak in there with the original score or song, and I think Adam Driver could be a dark horse for best actor because he is absolutely fantastic. And against all odds, Simon Helberg as this conductor character, who is played by Simon Helberg of the Big Bang Theory, a show I have immense dislike for. He's fantastic, and like he brings this warmth and this care to the film that at the point where he really starts to come to focus, the movie's lacking a bit. Because it's when Adam Driver's character is really spiraling into darkness, and you need this warmth that Simon Helberg really brilliantly brings.
Right. Let's talk about the camera work, Stephen, because managing this huge number of cast on camera, and especially we all know that the film was shot during the pandemic, so it was absolutely remarkable. How would you comment on the camera work and the spontaneous turns in each scene? How would you like to comment on that?
Well, it's one of the things. It's a given from a Leo's character. So, like I said, it takes ages to make every single film he's made. He's had like a 37-year career, and he's made, I think, 6 films. But it shows with each single one. Like it's designed like so beautifully. Like the house that they live in is so. It looks like a dream house. There's like a menace around every corner. There's something that the lighting is quite off at sometimes, and the camera work is everything you want from a musical. It lets everyone breathe. Like it starts off, like I said, with this incredible tracking shot when they're walking through from the recording studio down out the streets of LA where the film's set, and then even they will get into character. They change from Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard into Henry and Anne. They drive off to begin the next scene, and the way the camera just like swoons over them, it's brilliant. Like they both have fantastic faces as well, so they're easy to picture.
Right. Yeah. Stephen, thank you very much indeed for reviewing this movie.
Thank you very much for having me. Can't wait for you to see it.
That was our guest, Stephen, reviewing the latest release, Annette. And that is it from today's episode. We hope you liked it. Don't forget to share your feedback on the social media link mentioned down below. We'll see you next time. Until then, take care and goodbye.